do it. It's go time.
Welcome to Go Time, your source for wide-ranging discussions from all around the Go community. Check us out on the web at gotime.fm. There you'll find lists of recommended and popular episodes, unpopular opinion clips, and a request form, so you can let us know what you want to hear about on the pod. Big thanks to our partners at Fly.io. Over 3 million apps have launched on Fly. Deploy yours in 5 minutes. Learn how at Fly.io. Okay, here we go.
What's up, Gophers? You know we're big fans of Fly.io, and I'm here with Kurt Mackey, co-founder and CEO of Fly. Kurt, we've had some conversations, and I've heard you say that public clouds suck. What is your personal lens into public clouds sucking, and how does Fly not suck?
All right, so public clouds suck. I actually think most ways of hosting stuff on the internet sucks. And I have a lot of theories about why this is, but it almost doesn't matter. The reality is if like I've built a new app for like generating sandwich recipes because my family's just into specific types of sandwiches that use Braunschweiger as a component, for example. And then I want to like put that somewhere. You go to AWS and it's harder than just going and getting like a dedicated server from Hetzner. It's actually like more complicated to figure out how to deploy my dumb sandwich app on top of AWS because it's not built for me as a developer to be productive with. It's built for other people. It's built for platform teams to kind of build the infrastructure of their dreams and hopefully create a new UX that's useful for the developers that they work with. And again, I feel like every time I talk about this, it's like I'm just too impatient. I don't particularly want to go figure so many things out purely to put my sandwich app in front of people. And I don't particularly want to have to go talk to a platform team once my sandwich app becomes a huge startup and IPOs and I have to like do a deploy. I kind of feel like all that stuff should just work for me without me having to go ask permission or talk to anyone else. And so this informed a lot of how we built Fly. Like we're still a public cloud. We still have a lot of very similar low-level primitives as the bigger guys. But in general, they're designed to be used directly by developers. They're not built for a platform team to kind of cobble together. They're designed to be useful quickly for developers. One of the ways we've thought about this is if you can turn a very difficult problem into a 2-hour problem, people will build much more interesting types of apps. And so this is why we've done things like made it easy to run an app multi-region. Most companies don't run multi-region apps on public clouds because it's functionally impossible to do without a huge amount of upfront effort. It's why we've made things like the virtual machine primitives behind just a simple API. Most people don't do like code sandboxing or their own virtualization because it's just not really easy. There's just no path to that on top of the clouds. So in general, like I feel like, and it's not really fair of me to say public clouds suck because they were built for a different time. If you build one of these things starting in 2007, the world's very different than it is right now. And so a lot of what I'm saying, I think, is that public clouds are kind of old. And there's a new version of public clouds that we should all be building on top of that are definitely going to make me as a developer much happier than I was like 5 or 6 years ago when I was kind of stuck in this quagmire.
So AWS was built for a different era, a different cloud era, and Fly, a public cloud, yes, but a public cloud built for developers who ship. That's a difference. And we here at Changelog are developers who ship. So you should trust us. Try out Fly, Fly.io. Over 3 million apps, that includes us, have launched on Fly. They leverage the global anycast load balancing, the zero config private networking, hardware isolation, instant WireGuard VPN connections with push button deployments, scaling to thousands of instances. This is the cloud you want. Check it out, Fly.io. Again, Fly.io.
Hello, fellow Gophers. Go Time producer Jerod Santo here. I say fellow Gophers because despite my Ruby roots, my Elixir life, and the weekly JS parties that I throw, I've been hanging out behind the scenes of Go Time for so long that I feel like I'm part of the Go community, you know? In fact, I even wrote a production Go app for some definition of the word production, at least. The little web app I built to host our Gophers Say and front-end feud game boards, powered by Go. Anyways, what were we talking about? Yes, this week's episode. It's been too long since we've done a roundup of past unpopular opinion results. That's the plan for today. Now, when I say too long, I really mean it. The last roundup episode was in November of 2021. We have to play some catch up. So this time, we are going to rank and review the most popular and unpopular opinions of 2022. Let's get into it, but first, some stats. Go Time hosts and guests shared 76 opinions that year. Of those, 52 were generally popular, 4 were right at the 50% mark, and 20 were generally unpopular. That means we had more than twice the number of popular opinions than unpopular ones. Maybe it's time we rename the segment.
Popular opinion. Popular opinion.
Nah, that just doesn't sound right. Okay, here's your top 5 most popular opinions shared on Go Time in 2022. Number 5 comes from episode number 255, Debugging Go. Natalie Pisanovich said on that show that managers ask for updates too often.
I brought an unpopular opinion as well.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I think that as a manager, be it a team lead or a product manager or whatever, making a round of messages on your tracking system, like be it Jira, Trello, whatever. What's the status here? What's the status here? What's the status here? And then your developers arrive the next day to like 10 messages that all look the same. What's the status here? Is one of the worst things you can do.
Definitely.
No, it's supposed to be unpopular. Don't say that.
The Elon Musk way is much, much better. Tell everybody they're fired next week if they don't deliver what you've came up with overnight.
Now that's an unpopular opinion.
No, all those status messages never fail to give me anxiety. It's like, wait, was I supposed to get all of these done?
Even if yes, there's better ways of doing that than 10 messages of what's the status here.
Yeah, definitely.
Maybe you have an agreement that you should update at the end of every day, every week, every other day. I don't know. If you don't have such an agreement, you should set that up. If the team is not happy with this agreement, you need to find something else. But just around, like opening your inbox to 10 of those messages is just like, I'm going to close the computer. Bye.
A whopping 92% of pollsters agreed with Natalie. Give us a break, managers. The cake will be baked when the cake is done baking. Am I right? Number 4. On episode number 257, Nishant Roy joined Johnny and John to discuss how Pinterest delivers software at scale, and his unpopular opinion was that non-typed languages can be dangerous.
My unpopular opinion is that working with non-typed languages, non-compiled languages can be a nightmare, especially as your code base grows extremely large. I will say, shout out to the Pinterest team. I think they've done a fantastic job of making our Pythonic API easy to work with, easy to read, great documentation, great testing. However, if I just want to go in and read one bit of the code, it's really hard to understand exactly how it works because I don't know, for lack of typing, I don't know what's going into this function unless things are really well named, which at this scale becomes hard to enforce, becomes a little hard to test. You really need solid unit tests for it, everything down to like input parameter validation, which is something you don't need in a typed language. And I think it becomes really easy to like accidentally introduce some bugs. So I know for a fact that one of my friends in the past who worked at Pinterest introduced one bug where they accidentally reused a variable that was defined elsewhere, overwrote that variable's name because this file was like 900 lines long and Python didn't throw up any flags for using this variable like Go would. And it essentially caused not going to go into what the issue is, but it caused an issue with the content users were seeing. And that's something we didn't realize till the change went out and was live for a few days. I mean, it was restricted to internal employees only, but essentially it was something that I know that Go would have saved us like 3 days of wasted time, essentially.
93% of Gophers agreed that was Nishant's first Unpop with us, and he made a classic mistake of using a completely reasonable qualifier. You can't say things like can be, or should be, or may be, and expect people to disagree with you. Hotter takes, please. Well, we are actually getting less controversial from here. Number 3. The third most popular opinion was that product roadmaps are dangerous. Inbal Cohen had this to say about it on episode number 247.
My unpopular opinion has to do with roadmaps. Roadmaps are a very, very dangerous tool that a lot of times is used against development teams instead of by development teams for the business.
Interesting.
And my unpopular opinion would be, and this is funny because it's an unpopular opinion in many companies that I've been in, but it's actually how they're supposed to be done, which is roadmaps should be a combination of two directions meeting in the middle. From the top, we have the why, the business telling us these are the numbers that are going to make our company super successful. We have the middle part, which is the product saying what are we building? I understand the need, and now I'm going to think about this fantastic software that's going to solve all our problems. And on the bottom, we have the how. These are development teams. How is this going to get done? And roadmaps are supposed to take those two edges of the why and the how and bring them in the middle, which also is the house of when, right? So when we're trying to drop on development teams, when things are done, we're limiting how things are done.
95% of people who took the survey agree with her. Too many manager questions? Saying no to roadmaps? I'm sensing a theme here. Number 2. Here's Mark Sandstrom on episode number 218 called Going with GraphQL.
My unpopular opinion. So I think manually grinding through work is a underrated engineering strategy. Computers are great at automating tasks that you know how to do. And you have to know how to do something really well manually, I think, before you can effectively automate it. So you see this in product development, where startups will just have staff members doing tasks instead of their API, automatically doing things, as they're building things out. But it also applies, I think, to other areas of engineering where, it could be that, perhaps a task isn't even worth automating. Or I really like the approach of kind of assisted automation where you let the computer do what it's really good at doing, at perhaps finding places in code to update, but then you just go ahead and use your ability as a person to actually make the updates. So
96% agreed with Mark that grinding it out is often the way to go. Most successful software devs confess to this, so it's no surprise that it made the top 5. And now, for the moment we've all been waiting for, who will we crown with the most popular opinion? Which technically means the absolute worst submission to a segment about unpopular opinions of 2022. Number 1, Ivan Kwiatkowski believes NFTs are a scam, and not a single gopher begged to differ. That was just one of 4 unpopular opinions shared by Ivan on episode number 251, Hacking with Go, Part 2. Here's the whole bundle.
So, Ivan, what is your unpopular opinion for us?
Oh my god, I totally forgot about that. Oh, it's okay. The good thing is I do have many unpopular opinions, so I'm going to give you things on the top of my head and you can tell me what you want to know more about. For instance, I think that cyberspace is never going to be regulated. I think that NFTs are a scam. I think that there is no political will to limit the sale of cyber offense tools. That kind of stuff. Yeah, that's what's I do have a lot of unpopular political opinions as well, but I don't think I want to inflict that onto you. You've been very nice to me.
What do you think about the European rule about the USB-C until standardizing USBs?
Oh, I'm very, very happy about it. I know it's some pressure put on some device constructors, but I've been carrying lots of different chargers for years, and I'm super annoyed about this. And knowing that we are going to switch to like a single USB-C for every single device makes me extremely, extremely happy. Another unpopular opinion I have, which you can add to the list, is that I'm not really a big fan of Apple. Like, not at all. I don't like their ecosystem. And I'm not going to get into this, but one of the things I don't like is that people have to pay $40 for like new chargers, and they change chargers every time they release a new product. And I'm very happy that this is going to cut off this revenue stream for them, because I think this should have never existed in the first place.
What's up, friends? I'm here in the breaks with Kyle Carberry, co-founder and CTO over at Coder.com. Coder is an open source cloud development environment, a CDE. You can host this in your cloud or on-premise. So Kyle, walk me through the process. A CDE lets developers put their development environment in the cloud. Walk me through the process. They get an invite from their platform team to join their Coder instance. They got to sign in, set up their keys, set up their code editor. How's it work?
Step one for them, we try to make it remarkably easy for the dev. We never gate any features ever for the developer. They'll click that link that their platform team sends out. They'll sign in with OIDC or Google, and they'll really just press one button to create a development environment. Now that might provision like a Kubernetes pod or an AWS VM. We'll show the user what's provisioned, but they don't really have to care. From that point, you'll see a couple buttons appear to open the editors that you're used to, like VS Code Desktop or, VS Code through the web. Or you can install our CLI. Through our CLI, you really just log into Coder, and we take care of everything for you. When you SSH into a workspace, you don't have to worry about keys. It really just kind of like beautifully, magically works in the background for you and connects you to your workspace. We actually connect peer-to-peer as well. If the Coder server goes down for a second because of an upgrade, you don't have to worry about disconnects, and we always get you the lowest latency possible. One of our core values is we'll never be slower than SSH, period, full stop. And so we connect you peer-to-peer directly to the workspace, so it feels just as native as it possibly could.
Very cool. Thank you, Kyle. Well, friends, it might be time to consider a cloud development environment, a CDE. And open source is awesome, and Coder is fully open source. You can go to Coder.com right now, install Coder open source, start a premium trial, or get a demo. For me, my first step, I installed it on my Proxmox box and played with it. It was so cool. I loved it. Again, Coder.com, that's CODER.com.
We now come to the good stuff. Your actually unpopular opinion makers of 2022. Starting with number 5. This opinion was unpopular with 73% of gophers. Michael Matlube thinks they should bring back the try proposal.
My unpopular opinion is we should bring back the try proposal.
Oh, really?
And this is where I'm going to not mention the other features by name, but I'll say, of all the features that people have like proposed to the Go, like as language changes to the Go language, I feel like none have been as potentially impactful as the try proposal was. And I was sad to see it pulled back, because I think error handling properly is really important to writing good code, good Go code. And I think the language ergonomics should encourage people to handle their errors properly. And so often people will just, if error does not equal nil, return error, and just like not think about what they're doing with their errors. And I feel like try gave an opportunity to think like a little bit harder about like wrapping errors properly and what to do with errors, and kind of nudged people to do the right thing a little bit more. And certainly the proposal as it was like needed more work before it should go in. But I really do think we should bring back the try proposal and keep working on it and make it better. I don't know when we'll have the bandwidth for another big language change like that.
Michael shared that unpopular opinion on episode number 217, the other features in Go 1.18. We move now to number 4. This one was unpopular with 87% of respondents. Ed Welch thinks Windows is the best desktop operating system?
I believe Windows is the best desktop OS.
Okay, really?
Specifically, Windows with WSL2 is everything that I've ever needed from a desktop OS. So a close second would probably be Mac OS, although my experiences with Docker and Mac OS are frustrating, and my experiences with updating Mac OS and having it become less stable after every time it does an update. And in general, like the sort of expense of the Mac, hardware and kind of hostility of the Mac support community has shied me away from it. And then I love Linux. I've tried for years and years and years to run desktop Linux, and I just want my computer to work. I want to join this podcast today and expect not to have any trouble. And that's Windows, man. Like, that's where I'm at with Windows. Also, like, I don't know. I'm not going to say that I love it, right? That Windows is great and doesn't have a whole host of its own problems. I just think it has the least problems.
Yeah. It does have Minesweeper.
See, kids, if you want to be unpopular, use words like best. Don't say best for me or my favorite. Just come out and declare objectively, globally, without any contextual qualifiers or wiggle room at all, best. That's what our number 3 top Unpop did as well. This time, swap out Windows and desktop OSs, swap in C and programming languages.
The first one is that most meetings can't be replaced by emails.
By what? Email?
By emails, yes. We don't need meetings. We don't need so many meetings.
Right, you just send an email. Yeah. I mean, I don't think that's going to be unpopular at all. A lot of meetings could have been an email.
Yeah. And the second one is that C is the best programming language ever.
Ooh. Okay. All right. Let me mull on that for a second.
If I had to write, if I have to choose a single programming language to live with, that would definitely be C.
That would be C, huh?
Yes.
Okay.
Not C++, just C.
Just C. You like managing your own memory on that stuff, huh?
No, I don't anymore. But back then it was not easy to have garbage collection or automatic memory management. So otherwise we wouldn't have Unix, and that would be a shame.
Okay. I mean, if I guess if you didn't have a choice, I mean, if you're gonna write C, I mean, you'll probably, this is close to the metal, as they say, you're gonna get, unless you want to start writing assembly or something. But
yes, exactly. Exactly.
I can see that. Okay.
That was Mihalis Tsoukalos talking to Johnny on episode number 221, Mastering Go. And that opinion was unpopular with a resounding 83% of pollsters. The email opinion, not so much. We move now to number 2. An opinion about CSS on a Go podcast? This probably won't end well.
Let's see. All right. So my unpopular opinion that is not about Go is that CSS is a full-fledged programming language that will someday replace all other programming languages. Now I just need to figure out how to rewrite all of my backend microservices in CSS.
Don't even know how to respond to that one.
You broke my brain, I think.
That will solve the legacy problem for sure.
Yeah, let's just write everything.
Yes, it will.
CSS.
But does it have to be CSS, or can I write it in Sass and then transpile it to CSS?
Sass is fine.
Yeah.
I'm getting snazzy with it here.
Well, you can do math in CSS now, so I can kind of see how you could create a virtual machine out of CSS, where like the bytecode is CSS, and then, oh god, no! Now we're gonna wind up with someone writing a C compiler that compiles C into CSS that can actually. This is terrible.
Oh, no. What have we started?
I was right. It did not end well. 95% disagree with Misha Averick's sentiment that CSS is a full-fledged programming language that will someday replace all other programming languages. I wish he would have explained why, but you do have to give him points for going all in with that opinion, earning him the number 2 spot. And now, the moment we've all been waiting for. The most unpopular opinion shared on GoTime in the year 2022 is from the exact same episode that brought us number 2. That's episode number 223. It's called How Can We Prevent Legacy from Creeping In? And on that episode, Jeff Hernandez said this.
So I've been racking my brain with this ever since I agreed to be on GoTime. So I don't think I have anything earth-shattering like John's previous unpopular opinion, but what I came up with is I do not like any type of yogurt. I feel like that's a very popular snack that people like to eat. I just do not like yogurt at all. I have a story actually about that. So I bought Greek yogurt as a substitute for like sour cream because I heard that's like a good, like healthy substitute. And it was my first time actually trying it. Not like I opened up the container and it just smelled really funky. And I told my college roommate at the time, like, did this go bad? And like he came over and smelled it. He's like, no, that's just how it smells. I'm like, oh, definitely not for me then. But yeah.
Oh my gosh. Wait, are we talking just like plain, or are we talking like mixed in with some granola and fruit? You also don't like it?
I don't like any yogurt. I've never been like a yogurt person.
Like Greek only? Are we talking about yolk? Like drinkable yogurt?
No yogurt.
Oh my gosh, this is like an umbrella yogurt ban in the Jeff household.
Basically, yes.
How many GoTime listeners dislike yogurt as much as Jeff does? Pretty much none of us. Only 3% agreed with him, which leaves this opinion with a score of 97% unpopular. Congratulations, Jeff. We all think you're wrong. More wrong than anybody else who came on the show that entire year. Adam, tell Jeff what he wins.
You've won a lifetime of yogurt. That's right, we'll fill your fridge with every type of creamy yogurt for years to come, ensuring you never run out of your favorite snack. Void where prohibited or restricted by law. No cash value. Taxes and delivery fees may apply. Not an actual prize. What's going on, Gophers? Adam here, talking to you with a new friend of mine. You know this person, Matt Boyle. He's been on the show several times. A big fan of GoTime. And Matt is also a trainer at Bite Size Go. And Matt has a course coming out called Mastering Go with GoLand. And that introduces our new sponsor, JetBrains, and their awesome IDE called GoLand. It is for Go developers, and Matt loves this editor. He's featuring it in this course. You can check it out at bitesizego.com/GoLand. But Matt, what are 5 things about GoLand that you just love, that you can't live without?
So I think the 5 features of GoLand that I could not live without and I always miss when I'm not using it is firstly the debugger. I think the debugging experience in IntelliJ products is perfect. Perfect. Quite a stretch, but I genuinely think it's for me at least it's perfect. It's exactly what I want from a debugger. The second thing is having a terminal built in right there. I think most IDEs have this these days, but it's still like a really powerful and useful thing to have. The third one would be the ability to kind of connect the database from within my IDE. So this is really useful for building full stack apps, for debugging, and effectively I can do near enough everything I need to do to build an app from front end to back end without leaving GoLand, which is incredible. Fourth would be some of the refactoring tools. So we'll go through this in my course, but the ability to kind of extract code and turn it into a new function to automatically implement interfaces is something that's really useful. And then finally, once you get familiar with it, GoLand has this ability to sort of like fuzzy search and move between files, but using your keyboard. And I use that a lot because I use like very strict package and file naming for my stuff. I always know where things roughly live. And so being able to press Command-Shift-O on Mac and just start typing roughly the name of a file, I can just jump super quickly between different things, which is really, really useful for getting a lot of stuff done really quickly.
Very cool. Thank you for sharing, Matt. So Matt has this awesome course. It is free. Go to bitesizego.com goland. This is a free course. It is called Mastering Go with Goland, and you will get a complimentary 1-year Goland subscription when you take the course. Sign up for free at bitesizego.com/Goland or go to jb.gg/GoTime.
Since I have you here, and since I spend way too much time reviewing way too many opinions from what feels like forever ago, here's a few bonus opinions for you. These weren't necessarily popular or unpopular, they're just some that I really enjoyed for a second time while reviewing these. First up, Matt Ryer's passionate take on shower gel.
Speaking of being really sweaty, my unpopular opinion, I've got one today. I don't understand shower gel. It's like some kind of bath time slime, and it never smells great. And people have it. Sometimes I go to my brother's and I'll go in the shower, and he doesn't have any soap. He just has these bottles of shower gel, and it's sort of just slimy, and I don't know, never feel clean. Not happy with it. What's your stance on shower gel?
I tend to agree with you. It just all drips away. It's like, you know, give me a bar of soap.
Yeah.
It's there, right?
You can really go to town.
Don't you use a sponge for it?
Oh, a sponge.
Sponge? No.
Like something fluffy?
Oh, that makes sense.
I suppose that does make more sense. No.
No.
Do you also feel the same about shampoo?
No, although I realise that is very similar. I don't have loads of hair.
I have to say that I have recently, in the last couple of years, changed to using bar soap for the shampoo. You can get these shampoo bar soaps, and that works really well. And you don't have that bottle which you have to throw away. You know, so less plastic.
Nice.
It lasts for ages.
Sold.
Actually works really well.
Sold.
I totally recommend.
I want everything in a bar. I want a bar of toothpaste now. You just rub the bar in. No, but like a shower gel. Some places where the water's soft, like it doesn't even all properly come off, so you end up being all slimy.
You are like putting it on during the shower, not afterwards, right?
To be fair, I've not read the label. It may be user error, but I just don't get it. I just don't like it. I like a nice rough bar of soap, something that's rugged and, you know what I mean? I'm not like one of those really manly people.
Steel wool.
Steel wool. Oh, yes, please. I like a towel. Like, I went to a hotel, it was a bit fancy, and the towels were all soft, and it's horrible. I want a rough towel. I want it like an elephant rubbing up against a tree, please.
Matt's take on shower gel was unpopular, with 62% of us, including me. I have no problem with shower gel. I do enjoy a nice bar of Irish Spring, though. Product placement? No. TMI? Probs. Okay, next up, a bonus opinion from Johnny Borsico. I like this one because, well, I like this one.
I've always ended up regretting using a Boolean to keep track of data when I could use a timestamp.
A timestamp?
Yeah, exactly. Rather than storing, like for example, is active, right? Or active or whatever it is. Like storing that and, storing a, true or false or 1 and 0, whatever it is.
You just store the 5th of January 1971.
Yes, I store the timestamp. I store activated at or active at or whatever, something, because that gives me more information. Because I know if there's a real date in there, right? I don't have to keep track of 2 pieces of information. I don't have to keep track of, it is active, and now let me go find out later on where do I store when it was last activated or even deactivated, right? I can just use one piece of data that communicates both pieces of information to me.
Oh, I see.
Don't use a Boolean when a timestamp will do.
This last one is funny, I think, because, well, okay, it's my opinion, so of course I think it's funny. But Ian and Chris laughed too, so I'm not merely being biased here. Also, it's meta. Also, it's terribly outdated because Twitter is no more. Okay, enough of me explaining it. Let's just listen to it. So, on episode number 192, Ashley Jeffs had what was, in my opinion, the most brilliant Unpop of all times. His opinion was that people who vote in Twitter polls are losers. Did you guys hear that one? He said they should get out more. Nobody cares about their opinion, and it doesn't matter. Now, he thought that he'd gamed the system. He thought he made a perfectly unpopular opinion because, of course, we take the votes on Twitter, and what are they going to vote? But reality is stranger than fiction. 71% of Twitter poll takers agree that they were indeed losers. So, based on that empirical evidence, I can with confidence state that my unpopular opinion is that people who vote on Twitter polls are winners, and they should tweet more. Everybody cares about your opinion, and it does matter.
I feel like that one is going to be unpopular.
I think it might.
I think people are just going to be in spite just voting that.
No.
Like, yeah, that's unpopular. Just to, yeah.
Well, time will tell. Please follow GoTimeFM on Twitter and vote your opinion. Do you think you're actually a winner or a loser? 65% of people who voted on Twitter agreed with me. They're winners. But time was the ultimate truth teller, and I think we can all agree that nobody wins on Twitter. On that note, we now post our polls multiple places. We are still on X as GoTimeFM, and we're also posting to the Fediverse at GoTime@changelog.social. You know what would be really cool? A dedicated unpopular opinions website where people can post, vote, and rank opinions whenever they like. If you build it, we will come. Or at least me. I'd totally be there. That's all for this week. Thanks for listening. If you haven't yet, check out Changelog News. That's my baby, and it's also the industry's only weekly newsletter that's also a podcast. One reader had this to say about it: informative, concise, funny. Pick any three. Thanks, Mom. That means a lot. Read and listen to the latest issue at changelog.com/news. And thanks, of course, again to our partners at fly.io. To the GOAT. Breakmaster Cylinder is the greatest beat freak of all times. And to our longtime sponsors at Sentry. We love Sentry. You might too. Use code CHANGELOG, save $100 on the team plan. Too easy. That is all for now, but we'll talk to you again next time on Go Time.